Hello and welcome back to Focus Atlanta. Thanks so much for continuing to watch. We're going to close out the show with something very exciting. It is a book that I'm going to want all of you to go get. It is Georgia and the Power of the Vote. I'm here with Dr. Sims-Alvarado.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You got to give me a little background. Like, what even made you want to write this book?
Well, actually, I was approached by my publisher. I have another book that came out a few years ago called Atlanta and the Civil Rights Movement, 1944 to 1968. And as you know, the election dealing with Stacey Abrams and Governor Kemp took place, there was a lot of attention on Georgia. And so the publisher reached out to me and said, "Hey, I need you to write a book on Georgia and the vote." And so they wanted me to focus a great deal on the voter mobilization efforts over the past few years. But I said that's not the full story. This story is just the tail end of a much larger story that has a 150-year history.
Oh my gosh. Now, okay, when you think about that, it just seems so huge, right? To tell this type of story, it seems like overwhelming to me from the outside looking in. So as you're beginning this process, what were you feeling? Were you feeling like, oh my goodness, I've bitten off so much, I don't know that I can chew all of this? Like, was it as overwhelming as it appears to be from, from the outside looking in?
Yes, because I'm a pretty fast researcher and writer and pretty knowledgeable about Georgia's history. Um, and and so when I was asked to do it, I knew that I was biting off a lot by actually covering these various historical periods, and looking at voter mobilization efforts over a 150-year period. So I thought that, okay, I'll be able to do this within a year, but life is lifing. And and then not only that, is that I began to uncover all these new findings. This particular book is a pictorial history. So the challenge in writing it is actually trying to find photographs when very few photographs were even available, to try to tell this narrative. And at the same time, I'm making all these new discoveries, but emotionally it was draining because the history is scary.
Yeah, yeah. I can only imagine. Like in my head there had to be points where you kind of wanted to throw up your hands. You know what I mean? Because it is so, I don't know if harrowing is the right word, but when we look back on where we've come from to where we are right now, sometimes the picture is not pretty. You know what I mean? It's not. You're not always telling a good story to some extent. Did you feel a little of that? Like, okay, yes, I've jumped into this, and now this is what I've got to say. Like, this is what I've got to give to the people. Like, was there any of that angst?
There was a lot of that. There were times where I actually went to sleep and had nightmares in writing this history and making these discoveries. And you begin to learn why this history has been suppressed. Um, you you begin to learn how people acquire power and how they sustain power, and that comes with violence, and that comes with intimidation, that comes with a whole host of things that people may not be excited to read about within within history textbooks. It's not politically correct to maybe to have some of these things, but as I stated before, I mean the history is quite disturbing. And and as an author, you have to decide, okay, which part of the story am I going to be honest to writing, and I must tell this truth. And people are going to find with each page within the book that they're going to learn these new histories about individuals that they thought they knew, based on the history that was told. And just to set the readers up, they need to understand that when they open the book, there's a prelude, and the prelude actually looks at the end of the Civil War. Then you begin to see Georgia's history of capturing national attention that occurs in four ways. You see individuals who are trying to acquire power, those who are trying to sustain power, those who are trying to maintain the status quo, those who are trying to disrupt it. And because of that, uh, Georgia receiving this national attention the response to it has actually caused politics to change, policy to change.
Yeah.
And we don't understand like how important Georgia has been in regards to the vote, not only the vote from voters, from citizens, but also from legislators
Right,
as well.
nationally. Wow. I'm just so excited that you pushed through and that you did this. I'm excited for it to come out. I'm excited for everybody to have it. Thanks so much for taking the time to come on the show and sharing a little bit with us.
Thank you, and I look forward to coming back when the book is released.
I love it. All right, you guys heard it here first. That sounded like a promise to me that she'll be back. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to this week's episode of Focus Atlanta. I hope to see you next Sunday here on WUPA.